You think you've got all your AdWords, your pay-per-click, your online leads dialed in? Well, we've got a website you're probably not thinking about. What's happening? JC Agajanian here, broker associate with the Whistle Realty Group, bringing you another recap from the Monday Morning Mastermind put on by the Fast Forward Movement. If you don't know, it is a phenomenal mastermind with anywhere from 500 to 800 agents from all over the country, most of which are high-level production, top-producing agents, if not team leads in their own right. Of course, we do have some of the odd solo agents as well, but everyone getting together to discuss things to help push the ball forward when it comes to production in your business. Today we had 3 great topics. The first of which is running YouTube ads. I'm not doing it right now. Are you? Something to think about. We'll get into it a little bit more. Next one is leveraging your express offers. If you're not part of the eXp Realty family, that's just a specific dialed in iBuyer solution to compete with all the big boys. You could use one of those, or you could use a local investor in place of the express offers platform for this conversation. And of course, the final one is actually getting your CMA dialed in really accurately. We've got tips from an appraiser on this one because all CMAs are not created equally. And in some cases, we've got real question marks about adjustments and how to dial it in. So let's get started with the YouTube topic. How and what are you doing when it comes to surrounding the topic of YouTube ads? With as many people that were on the mastermind this morning, you would think we had a plethora of answers, suggestions, experiences. Hey, I did this, it didn't work out well, you should do A, B, and C instead of X, Y, and Z. There was only a couple people that had any framework to go on. And what we learned was this is very likely what we like to call in the business a blue ocean strategy. I mean, there were over 500 people on this call this morning and virtually nobody was running YouTube ads. Surprising, right? But that's what we ran into. What we learned is that it's flexible, right? It's kind of like running Google's pay-per-click. You can run it based on geography. You can run it based on a custom audience, just like you would in some of the social media sites. And you can run it against keywords. And then you can also run it against other types of genres. If people are watching certain types of videos on a regular basis, you can run ads to people that like that type of content. We also learned that there are pre-selected audiences you can actually toggle to run your ads. Some of them are income-based, some of them are lifestyle-based, like who is likely to be moving soon or something like that. And you can, like I said before, you can target it based on channels. So you can say, send this ad to people that are watching Zillow's channel. Or if you're trying to hit that super luxury market, you can say, send this ad to people who are keyed in on the Ferrari enthusiast channel, or whatever the case may be. Lots of flexibility and lots of different ways to target who it is you're trying to be seen in front of, right? So that's kind of the baseline of what we learned about getting it set up. Just like in some of the social media sites, you can also run it against a custom audience. You can upload your personal database, or you can upload a specific area that you want to target, because very similar to running ads in Facebook or Instagram or any of the other social sites, you're not going to be able to pinpoint it down to a neighborhood, let alone a zip code. I mean, I think it's like a 20-mile radius, and that in San Diego covers the whole heart of the county, and there's probably 20 zip codes inside that 20-mile radius. So a custom audience, or your database, or a specific data set of emails or people in a very small part of town is maybe another way to get around that. Another thing that we learned is that the views created by the ads run in YouTube just show up as normal views. They're not separated out and saying ad generated views or organic views. They are just views. So that led us to a little further conversation like, gosh, well, even if we don't create a whole marketing funnel and walk people down this line to getting in touch with us so that we can hopefully sell their home or help them buy a home or whatever the case may be, at the very least, we can put a few thousand extra views on our listing videos just like that with a little bit of cash spend. And then next time you're in a listing appointment in front of somebody, you can very easily set yourself apart and be like, has anybody else showed you what their listing videos are able to accomplish? Because we get thousands of views on our listing videos. Pretty genius, right? So even if you do none of the other bigger picture stuff, that little tip and tweak alone could lead to winning more listings and really separating yourself out from the competition as the one who understands how to put their property in front of more people and get more views on it. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. As we dug into more talk about YouTube and what it looks like, I'm sure you've experienced the ad showed up before the video that you're trying to watch. You have the option to skip that ad and move forward. We have to remember when we're creating these ads, that viewer can skip this video. So it makes us think a little bit differently about the content, because under normal circumstances, maybe we do a little teaser, something like I did on this video, or just get straight into some engaging content and then worry about explaining who we are and what our branding is, putting the watermarks on the screen and all that stuff till later, because we just want to have something of value to offer and something to get attention right away. Well, the good thing about the skip ad part in the video is that we as advertisers don't get charged for that. So that's great. But the bad thing is people are moving past our ad. So one way to kind of think of it as a little bit of a hack, maybe throw our branding up on bottom left, since that skip ad is always on the bottom right. So at least even if we're not having to pay for that ad and they're not seeing everything that we've presented, at least maybe we get a flash of some branding up in front of that viewer for us, a few seconds before they decide they're not interested and they want to move forward, or they're just really eager to get to that video telling them how to reinstall their headlight that they're looking on, or whatever the heck it is they're doing. So that's kind of a little bit of a tweak on maybe a different mentality on what you would normally do with your video content when it comes to considering you're an ad in another video for something else that somebody can't skip. And the other thing that was brought up when we talked about this more is the idea that we have to be a little bit careful of the fact that skipping can become detrimental to our organic reach. We have to make your super strong hook. We have to make it engaging from the first second. We have to have immediate impression going on, because the more skips, the more people that don't want to see our ads, it could hurt our organic reach, like I said. And so on that topic, some people have recommended, if you're going to run a lot of ads in YouTube, that maybe you go ahead and create a separate account to run these ads, which is different from your business account or your personal account, whatever it is you're using on YouTube to make this content. The negative from having that a separate account is that you can't say like and subscribe. You can't say like follow me here, or maybe you could say DM me, but you have to be watching that account. Whereas if it was your primary account, you could do all those things and you could gain followers through these ads that you're running. But if you're running a ton of ads and you're worried about the skipping factor, being detrimental for your organic reach, this is what we've been told a good solution for that. So consider that. And the other topic, like I was mentioning or alluding to before, is the idea of really creating a sales funnel, especially if you're going to be using that separate YouTube account, because you're not just having people follow you and work on the engagement more, you're actually working on a sales cycle. So you create the funnel, close instead of let me know if you want to talk more or send me a message here, something pretty natural, maybe less directive would be something more specific. Like, I've got a list of 17 do's and don'ts for you to know what's happening before you sell in this market right now. Click on this link here and I'll give it to you for free, or something like that. And now you've got them into that funnel that we're talking about. They go to a landing page, they fill out maybe their email and phone number, however much information you're asking for. You give them the item of value, and then you can do what you can to move forward and with that prospect. So that's pretty much it. It was eye-opening. It was a lot of information about YouTube ads. Makes me want to get into the game, since it seems like so few people are doing it. I mean, almost any topic that comes up in this Fast Forward Mastermind has a ton of people who have dove headfirst into it, lots of experience, telling you exactly what gave them success and what didn't, and they can write a book on it. That wasn't the case for YouTube ads. So it makes me think, man, maybe this is something that we should really wake up and take a look at and pay attention to, and maybe get in the game quickly. So that's it for YouTube. We're going to move on to express offers and or how to leverage an iBuyer in your business, right? So that's really what the express offers is. It's exclusive to eXp Realty. It's an iBuyer platform. They tell us up front what sort of buy box they want to have. So, for example, one investor may want to never deal with a pool and only deal with single story homes and whatever the case. They can be real specific. They can say we only buy between $500,000 and $900,000 homes, and we only buy in these zip codes. They're all very specific so that you're not just throwing a bunch of junk at the wall and hoping you can find somebody who's going to come along and give you an offer. You know what each specific investor is willing to buy as a cash buyer for homes. And some of these people, true fix and flip investors, and some of them are more long-term investors. They'll want to buy and hold, and they will put tenants in the properties. There's a variety of people that simply sign up to get approved with the Express Offers platform within eXp Realty. And as an agent, it's good to know that if you introduce a solid investor to this system, you actually get a little bit of a bonus each time they conduct a deal. So I don't think it's life-changing money, but it's something that's there that'll help you out. So that's interesting too. How are we going to use this? What are we going to do with the Express Offers or iBuyer inside your marketing? One of the most obvious, helpful ways of doing it is if you're really targeting that distressed market. If you're going after the people that just need to sell because they've got just loads of deferred maintenance, or maybe they're in a cash crunch, or maybe they've got some issue where they need to get out of property quick. Those are the people that this is perfect for. But they're not the only people, because this can be a great way to simply start a conversation. If you run an ad or have one of those bandit signs posted way up high on a telephone pole, or maybe something near an on-ramp saying, "I buy homes cash," just like you see all over the city, that can be you making a cash offer and not be full of crap because you've got this group behind you that's willing to follow through. So that's kind of a great way to do it. So you're focusing on either people that really need this quick, easy cash close, or you're focusing on people that at least have enough interest in it where they might raise their hand and be willing to take a phone call. And then, as you move forward, if the offers are not to their liking, of course, that's not the only thing we have to offer you. We have a wide variety of ways to help you get your home sold. And then you can march them down the path of which is going to be the best option for them and put them in the position and the authority to make that decision. But the cool thing is that offer may have gotten you that might not have been there otherwise. Back to the Express Offers program, ideally they sign up for is to give you an offer at 70 to 80% of ARV, or after repaired value. So it's supposed to be a compelling offer. I haven't used the program a lot. I did get approved for it a couple of years ago, but we have other investors at our fingertips that we use on a regular basis. So we just haven't really gone in that route. But I have heard that a lot of the offers come in lower than that expected 70 to 80% of ARV. Just be aware of that. But like I said, it doesn't really matter if you come to them with 5 cash offers, all within maybe a few percent of each other, maybe 5 or 10 grand of each other, and none of them are acceptable. Cool. That's fine, because now you've just offered something that they asked for. You followed through on it, and it wasn't to their liking. And now you can say, that's no problem. If this isn't going to work for you, we have other ways to help solve this issue with you. And you can talk about an as-is sale to market, which will get them more money. You can talk about a very modest, put a little bit of cash into the property, do some paint and carpet, the basics, just to freshen it up so it's not gross. Maybe a trash out if it's loaded full of crap. Or you can offer them something that we have at our disposal, which is to partner up with someone who will literally come in and flip that home for them, and then share the difference between current value and ARV, and give a percentage to the contractor, and then keep the majority for themselves, in which case they would make way more money than these lowball cash offers. So that's a way that I could just think off the top of my head of how to walk someone down a myriad of options, say which one's right for you. We can do all these different things for you. But what we really have is a one-stop shop right here. I've got all the options you could possibly need. You don't need to talk to anybody else. All we need to do is have you pick A, B, or C here, maybe even D. Who knows? Maybe they'd be even open to doing the very minimum, fixing them up, and throwing a renter in there and having money come in every month. You never know what these people need, but what we do know is we can find the solution for them, and we can walk them through it with as little stress as possible, right? I'm already in the flow just talking about it, just thinking out loud. That's a great way to take advantage of this. And this is something that I want to implement myself. I heard it this morning. I thought it was a great idea. The concept of creating door hangers that say, "I buy homes cash," or something to that effect, and just keep them in your car. And whenever you're driving around, whether it's to appointments or just around your neighborhood, and you see that house that just stands out because you're a realtor and you're like, wow, that property is begging to get flipped. Who owns this thing? It needs help. I've done it myself. I've actually stopped, written down addresses, and just stalked people down and found phone numbers. And I, in some cases, been able to get through, most of the time not. Find out if they're willing to do anything on a property. Having a simple door hanger to leave that says, hey, I can take care of this need for you, no problem, is a great way to go around and get your name out there and just to be more proactive when you're going about your day. So I thought that was a really good idea. This is something we've done for different applications, but you can buy Avery, pre-perforated door hanger paper that just goes into a normal printer. And then you can go into Canva and you can get a door hanger template and you can make a really clean looking piece. And you can make all these door hangers yourself. You don't have to go down and pay an arm and a leg for them. This is something that we've done for basic stuff like coming soon, for canned food drives. We've used it for all kinds of different applications. And we just customize what it looks like on the front. And we have gone and door knocked and dropped ourselves with the hard knock, having a conversation with people. And we've also paid people to simply soft knock, which is just leave them on the door. Because it's not worth our time if we're not going to hard knock, right? We all know that. But that is a great way to take advantage of this Express Offers program. Another way that we can take advantage of this program is if you're already running something like a guaranteed offer program. It basically is going to make it really easy for you to follow through on that promise and guaranteeing them an offer. As one of the things you do, you meet with them and you get the property going. And that's the program they're operating under, and they're expecting an offer within a few days of listing the property. You go straight to that program and you get some iBuyer offers first. And so you can explain to them, listen, we're going to be going to the market here. Don't be offended if these numbers are too low. We're going to look at this as a backstop. We know right now, right here, today, we could take this offer and call our closing date and have it be a wrap. If this isn't the right number for you, no problem, but at least we know where we stand, and this is a great starting point. So you can just put it into perspective when you're talking to them, especially if you are running a guaranteed offer program or anything else like that. Lots of different ways for you to use the Express Offers program or take advantage of your local iBuyer or cash investor. It's just a great way to get in the door, start that conversation, open up the idea of multiple options for how they want to get this home sold and what's going to fit for them and their family, and then take it from there. In the most cases, it's going to be an opportunity that you maybe didn't have otherwise. So take it and run with it. It's a good idea. All right, we're going to move to the final subject of this morning's mastermind, which was basically a short conversation, getting some tips, ideas on how to really make an accurate CMA. There are really easy homes to comp out, and there are really difficult homes to comp out. I actually teach a class on creating CMAs to the new agents coming through the Whistle Realty Group, probably on a monthly basis. We regularly have new groups of 5 to 10 agents joining the team. And I don't know how it worked out that way, but one of the things that I got asked to do and with regularity is teach a class on CMAs. So this is what I do all the time. And if you've got a condo or townhome, or if you've got a planned community, these are very easy to do. You're going to have model matches. The only thing you're really going to be adjusting for is maybe the positioning within the community, if it's got views, and what sort of finishes the current owners have done to the home. Now, there's other parts of the San Diego County that are quite difficult to comp out. I mean, we've got areas with homes that were, some of them built in the early 20s and some of them built last year. We've got other areas built on acreage, and you have to figure out not only how does the home compare, but how does the land compare? What is its use? Is this a horse property? Is this something for agriculture? There's some very difficult properties within the county to comp out as well. And so I think that was the source of this question and why it came out. Someone going, hey, what about those tough ones? How do we really make adjustments like an appraiser would? Some of these properties that don't have a cookie cutter neighborhood for me to just pick and choose from, or aren't part of a townhome community where it's quick and easy. So one of the first tips we got from our appraiser was that you always have to keep in your mind what is typical for this neighborhood. If you're in an area where it's really hot all the time and everybody's got a kidney bean pool in their backyard, and that is what expected because those kids are going to be swimming like fishes all summer long, and your home doesn't have one, well, that's not typical for the neighborhood. So that's going to be a downward adjustment, right? Or maybe that's something that's coveted. The same example with the pool. And it does get hot, but it hasn't, most of the homes are older, so they don't all have pools. And you've got this beautiful outdoor pool and landscape that's perfect. Well, that's going to be an obvious upward adjustment. But if it's a standard pool and all the other homes have standard pools, it's not going to be much of an adjustment at all because that is what is expected, what is typical for the neighborhood. So that's a good, just a general frame of mind to come at it from. Really understand what is expected from buyers in this neighborhood that we're talking about. Another idea is if you're just absolutely stuck, there's no good comps at all, right? And there's nothing within the last 30, 60, 90 days. If there's nothing in the last 6 months or even a year, you're going back and you're like, I don't even want to go back a year, but I'm having a look and I can't find any comps. Certainly not within a reasonable amount of time or reasonable amount of distance from this home. I cannot find a single one. Well, we heard about a good solution for a situation like that was to just be very specific. Keep your geography tight, keep your lot size, your bed bath count, your square footage, amenities like pool, no pool, air conditioning, all that stuff. Keep it real tight and then just free up yourself to go way back in history, right? So now we're nowhere near right on time, but we're going to be right on everything else. And then we have to just go in and gather the data necessary. We have a great system. We have one called Fast Stats in San Diego County, and we have there's another one that will give you plenty of statistics on what's happened over the years. And then you take that and you apply that to however old these perfect comps are that you've got. And so you want to compare your property to something that's sold a long time ago and then try and bring that up to date with the appreciation, with the market changes and fluctuation that has happened through the years. It's not ideal, but it's a heck of a lot better than guessing. It's a heck of a lot better than nothing. And it's even a heck of a lot better than just clicking on Zillow or Redfin and seeing what they think about the property. I like to wait until I'm finished with my CMA to do that because what are our sellers doing? They're clicking on Zillow and Redfin and Realtor.com and Trulia and anything else they can get their hands on. So we have got to at least be aware of what these websites are saying about the property that we're comping out. But we cannot rely on them because as we know, sometimes they happen to be right on the money. And a lot of times they are off by 5, 10, 15%. That's no good. So be aware of it. And just like you want to be aware of very close, very recent sales, because sellers and homeowners in general always know about that one home just down the street and what it sold for, but they don't know if it's 1,000 square foot bigger or if it had a $200,000 renovation making everything beautiful like a brand new flip. They don't know all these things. So even if that's not a good comp, we need to be aware of it because when they bring it up, we can't go, oh, really? Which property was that? And how far away it is? Do you know how big it was? And now you're just like trying to come up with why it didn't pop up in your list of comps when there's probably a great reason as far as the size or whatever the case may be. But if you're at least aware of it, then you can say, yeah, you know what? I actually excluded that one from our report. It's a lot bigger than ours and just doesn't fit the criteria of being a good comparable sale. So while it is right here and it did just sell recently, it would be a little bit like comparing apples to oranges in this scenario. So we can't use that one for that reason. You've got to be aware of all that stuff and ready to be peppered with those questions and ready with an answer already in mind as to why that one wasn't great for you. So a little bit more on CMAs before we wrap it up is the idea to struggling to find good comparative sales that have a specific criteria that this unique property has that many others don't. Another way, instead of going back in time and finding a perfect one, is to find reasonable comps, both geographically and time-wise. Just compare, like, okay, we've got a couple properties that have this feature set, and we've got a couple properties that don't have this feature set. We aren't quite exactly the same as either one, but we can use what's happened here, and we can use what's happened here, and we can compare the two, and we can triangulate, if you will, down to what we think the most appropriate price is based on these other. And of course, when you're sitting in front of a client, you explain, listen, this is not a perfect comp over here, and these two, they're not really perfect either. But we don't have the luxury of having a perfect comp. So because of that, we're having to make the most of these. And I came to this conclusion because, and support your position. We're going to wrap it there, but that's some good tips on how to handle yourself when you've just got a real bear in front of you that you can't comp out. Hope this was helpful for you. Talking about YouTube, talking about express offers, and talking about comps and really being accurate with the CMA. I hope you found something that you can take and implement into your business today. As usual, ideas are great, but nowhere near as good as implementation. Send me a DM if you've got any questions or comments about any of this. I look forward to talking to you soon.